Get up. Get up. Twice this message of God appeared to Joseph in a dream, and twice he was told to get up. First, the angel tells him to get up and go into Egypt to get away from Herod. Then, after Herod dies, the angel tells Joseph to get up and go back to the land of Israel. In short, get up is the message. Get up. Get up out of your bed. Arouse yourself from sleep, the slumber you fell into when things were comfortable, the sleepy denial that possessed you when you thought all was just fine and you didn't have the energy to make any changes. Get up out of the niche you have carved out for yourself. Get up from the seat you have sat in low these many years that gives you a limited and familiar glimpse of what is around you, but fails to see what is in the shadows. Well, I imagine that Joseph, like all of us, did not really want to get up when that message came. I imagine that he wanted to stay put, to stay in bed, to stay where it was familiar. He didn't want to leave his people, his culture, his way of life that he knew, that was familiar, that was comfortable. He didn't want to take that long and treacherous journey through the wilderness with a young child and go to a place so utterly foreign, so lonely, so far, a place where he didn't know the language, where he didn't know the customs, and where he had to learn everything anew. And then, once he had learned everything, once he grew accustomed to that place in Egypt, once they felt safe and sound in that foreign country, which was by far more luxurious than Israel, where he was from, suddenly, it says in the gospel, suddenly, in a dream, the Lord's angel or messenger appeared to him again and said, again, get up. Time to go back to Israel. Don't get too settled. Stay out of that rut. It must have been tremendously hard to go back in some sense. I can imagine Joseph saying, "You got to be kidding. I just got comfortable here. I've made my place. I've figured everything out. And you want me to get up and go?" He had to trust. He had to trust that what he was hearing in the message was right. He had to trust the intuition. He had to trust that when God asked him to get up and travel, that God was going to provide for him like God provided for the children of Israel, his forebears, to get him home and establish him in a new place, in new work, in a new job, to take him home. Get up. Get up, Joseph. Wake up, arouse yourself, step out into the wilderness and move. God's purposes are not served here in Egypt anymore. I can imagine the conflict between what Joseph wanted and what God invited or asked Joseph to do, or commanded him, really, because it is an imperative. Takes me back to years ago when I was in high school. I applied for a summer job at Sears at Pembroke Mall. In order to be considered, I had to take one of those job orientation tests. And one of the yes or no questions was, in the morning, when the alarm goes off, I consistently jump right out of bed, ready to take on the day. I thought it an odd question at the time, and in my naivete, I decided that they wanted me to be an enthusiastic salesperson, so I was going to say yes, even though it was not true. I didn't get the job. And I suspect that was because later I realized that question was one of those trick questions they throw in to determine how much you lied. And I lied. And I didn't get the job. And I didn't deserve to get the job. And the truth is, few of us jump out of bed with enthusiasm in the morning when the alarm goes off, unless the alarm is across the room. Few of us love getting up in the morning, unless we're going to do something really special and exciting. But out of the blue came that message, get up. And he got up. When has that angel called to you and told you to get up, to arouse yourself from sleep, to choose a different path, to leave the familiar place or pattern or rut or seat or attitude? How did that angel or messenger from God come to you? Did you get up or did you stay put? Did it come in a different way? Did it come through an action? Did it come through a dream? Did it come through a message that you read? Did it come through an experience? There are many ways in which that message comes to us. Sometimes the message comes when we're displaced, when we lose a job, or we lose our way. These are the fundamental questions, however, of our human and spiritual journey. Do you wake up? Do you get out of bed? Or do you stay asleep? Anna, Kathy, and I have been watching the Ken Burns series on the Roosevelts, kind of after the fact. Many of you probably have seen them. And one of the historians reflected on the impact of polio on the character of Franklin Roosevelt. She said that the suffering caused him to deepen as a person as he went inward and grappled with the excruciating pain and paralysis. It could have paralyzed his life as well as his body, but her point was it didn't. It did quite the opposite. It actually roused him. It woke him up. It told him to get up from a kind of upper-class somnolence where everything came easy to him. And it took him on a journey that deepened his insight into the suffering of a nation he was called to govern. And it also gave him a tremendous optimism. Those of you who've seen the photographs of Roosevelt or remember him, remembered his great smile for everyone. And as he overcame the terrible constraints of his own paralysis, he got up and told a nation that it too could get up and out of a paralyzing depression. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And that's the message of the gospel for us as well. Interestingly, Roosevelt was an Episcopalian, and his faith and church shaped his vision of his life as well. Well, how is that angel speaking to us? How is that angel telling us individually and corporately as a church to get up, to wake up, to take a new journey, to look at things from a different perspective? I guarantee we will resist it. I heard a number of years ago a lecture where someone said, we are hardwired to resist newness. We're hardwired to resist any kind of change. I guarantee we will resist it. It will irritate us. We don't like to be displaced from what we know. We like comfort and settledness. In what way is the angel intruding into our dreams as a parish with a message from God telling us to wake up, to get up, to take a new spiritual journey, to try something new, to discover new ways of being a church in a changing time? And if you think I'm subtly introducing something new, or that I have some schema in mind that I'm going to sneak up on you, you're wrong. I have no idea. I don't know the answer. But together now, as we move ahead into these next 5 years, together, if we listen to our dreams and get up and follow their leading together, Despite the effort, despite the cost, despite the displacement, if we get up and trust the leading of the Spirit like Joseph did, we might find new energy, new life, new faith, new energy, new life and faith that we never knew was there. For it's interesting that the word get up also means to rise to new life. Amen.